Hi y'all, welcome back to GroFit with Tammy. On today's video, I'm going to take you through a yoga routine that will help to open up your hips and get the blood flow going to your core muscles. Focusing in on the hips is going to help with your overall flexibility, your core strength, and your general range of movement. This is a routine we can all do, but if you're like me and maturing, then it becomes even more vital that we regularly stretch the hip region to help overcome the gradual loss of movement that can affect our muscles as we get older. I'd like us to begin today's session in a child's pose. So seated on your feet, bring your big toes close together and then open up your knees as wide as your mat or hip width apart. And then with the inhale, we're going to lean our torso forward, stretching and bringing our forehead to our mat. Now while you're in this position, you want to relax your arms. If you can't reach the mat with your forehead, then you can roll a towel or a blanket to assist. And then you want to press your buttocks down towards your heels. So we're lengthening and allowing gravity to open our chest and stretching our hips. While in this position, I just want you to begin to bring your thoughts and intentions in towards your time on your mat, our time together. Begin to deepen your breath, inhaling and exhaling through your nose. Feel your chest expand and empty. Okay, as we continue and move on to our next pose, I want you to keep breathing deeply and come to a seated cross-legged position on the floor. I'd like you to place one palm on your heart and the other on your tummy. And what we're going to do is a breathing exercise for the count of 4, where we inhale, we're going to hold our breath in for 4, and then we're going to exhale for a count of 4. You can close your eyes and relax as I talk us through it. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, inhale, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4. Continue on your own. Two more rounds. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Good. You can open your eyes. From here, we're going to do a seated side stretch. So let's go ahead and place our right palm beside us on the floor. And with our next inhale, lengthen and reach up with your left fingertips all the way up to the sky. Really lengthen. And on your next exhale, begin to fold forward over to the right. So we're inhaling and lengthening, and turn and open your chest towards the ceiling. And exhale, so you're folding a little bit deeper each time. Two more breaths here. See if you can go a little bit deeper. Last inhale and exhale. As you inhale, bring both arms up, left palm to the floor, reach up a little further, really give a good stretch and lengthen the right side of your body now, and exhale over towards your left fingertips on the floor. Inhale and exhale. And on your next inhale, let's bring both arms up and release. All right, now we're going to move to our seated twist. And for this variation, I'd like you to take your right ankle, lift it up and go over your left thigh, so over the outside edge of your thigh. And then we're going to place our right palm behind us. Inhale our left hand up, lengthen, stretch the crown of your head toward the ceiling. And as you exhale, bring your left elbow over the outside of your right thigh, pushing away to open your chest, and exhaling, looking back over your shoulder, twisting your torso, stretching your outer right hip. If it's too difficult for you to get your left elbow on the outside of your thigh, you can also use that arm to wrap around and take hold. Just remember to keep your chest open, lengthening your spine towards the ceiling. Inhaling and exhaling. On your next exhale, let's go ahead and release and come back to the front, and we're going to switch legs. So your right foot and ankle are going to go over to the left side. Just tuck it in, and you want to level off and have your buttocks grounded and rooted into the floor. Left ankle over the right thigh. And with that, we're going to once again inhale our right arm up, reaching those fingers up towards the ceiling, and then coming down, right elbow over the outside of your left thigh. Inhaling, lengthening and stretching up toward the ceiling. Exhaling, twisting a little bit further each time, looking over your shoulder. And go ahead and do the variation you need to do with your right arm. Let's exhale and release. Now we're going to move into a tabletop position for our cat-cow exercise. So we're placing the palms of our hands below our shoulders, knees below the hips, and tuck your toes under, or put the tops of your feet flat against the floor. It's up to you. And right now you can start to get a little movement. Wiggle your hips, see what feels good for you. And on your next inhale, we're going to push our head down through our shoulders and looking up to the ceiling. Let your back sag down like an old cow. And then on your exhale, you're going to push down, arch your back like a cat, and push your shoulders away from your hands. Inhale, looking up to the sky. And exhale, arching your back. And release. So now you can sit down, and we're going to continue laying down on our mat. Now from here, go ahead and pull your knees into your chest and wrap your arms around your knees or your shins and give a good squeeze. You can bring your forehead up to meet them. And then from here, don't release everything just yet. Bring your head back to the floor, but kick your feet up with your knees still bent, and either reach behind your calves, or if you have it, you can reach to the outsides of your feet. This is happy baby pose. And what we want to do here is bring our thighs so that they're horizontal. So I'm pushing my feet away from each other, opening up, just like you picture a little baby on the floor. And then you can begin to rock, and it gives a little massage. You can also give a slight rotation to your pelvis. Feel your lower back pressing against the floor as well. So you're opening and stretching and pulling your feet down so that your knees are trying to get down to the mat. All right, and now we're going to release. Just bring the soles of your feet to the mat with your knees pointing upwards. Our next position is going to be a bridge pose. Now to do the bridge pose, what I'd like you to do is to keep your chin tucked in towards your chest once we begin. Right now you can follow me on the screen, but once you start to lift, don't want you to look to the left or the right. Bring the heels of your feet as close to your buttocks as you can, reaching your fingertips. If you can touch them. And now what I'm going to do is begin to walk my hands under my buttocks. All right, so my shoulder blades are rounding backwards and tucking underneath me. And then on our next inhale, I want you to begin to lift your hips up towards the ceiling. Now try to keep your knees squeezed together as much as you can to give a good juicy stretch. You can feel your derriere muscles tightening up there. We're firming those up as well. And on each inhale and exhale, just keep pushing and holding it up to the ceiling. We won't stay here too long. And as you release, I want you to come down slowly, rolling vertebrae by vertebrae until finally your bottom touches the ground. Good. Let's take 2 breaths. And then we're going to begin again. Okay, once again, putting my hands underneath. And on my next inhale, I'm going to lift up, tucking my hands underneath behind me and pushing up towards the ceiling. Pushing my knees away from my torso, squeezing them in together. And breathe. Hold it 1 more breath. And slowly release vertebrae by vertebrae. Good. I'm just going to do 1 more round here. And inhale, pushing up, keeping that chin tucked in. See if you can go a little bit higher. One more breath. And slowly release back down to the mat. Very good. All right, for our next pose, we're going to thread the needle. I'd like you to lift your right foot and place your right ankle across the top of your left thigh, so just below your knee, like you're starting to cross one leg over the other. And then with your right palm, I want you to gently move your right thigh away from your torso. So you're opening up the hip a little, stretching it out. And now for the second part, we're going to reach both hands around our left thigh. So you're in between both legs with your right hand. You can interlace your fingers and then begin to squeeze your left thigh in towards your chest. Right elbow will naturally start to push the right thigh away from your chest as your left thigh comes in closer. You should really start to feel a good stretch here on your right hip. Relax your shoulders, unfurl that brow. Breathe into all the parts of your body. I'm keeping my right foot flexed to keep those muscles in that leg activated. You can release your left foot if you like, or keep them both active. think that's about it for the right side. Let's release the left leg. And then we're going to do the other side. Bring your left ankle over your right thigh. Use your left palm and push away, creating more openness in that left hip joint. And now we're going to reach through and interlock your fingers behind your right thigh. Inhaling and squeezing in, using that left elbow to push back, opening up your left thigh as you pull in your right leg. Remember, you can flex your feet to keep your leg muscles active, but I want you to relax your shoulders, unfurl that brow, breathe deeply. If you can, give a little firmer squeeze, pulling that leg in, pushing the other out. Two more breaths here. And you can begin to release both feet back on the mat. Now we're moving on to our final pose before Shavasana. And what we're going to do is a reclining butterfly. So putting the soles of your feet together, you can begin to let your knees drop apart and open. Now, if this is really a stretch for you and really painful, you can stop the video and go get a couple towels or blankets and roll them up, or if you have yoga blocks, and give some support underneath your knees so that as we recline and let gravity do its work here, you don't have too much pressure pulling open further than what you can stand. Now for your hands, you could either keep them by your sides, you can extend them overhead and stretch, cactus arms with them open, elbows out to either side, arms bent, or you can take hold of opposite elbow over your head. And breathe. When you hold a pose for an extended amount of time, your muscles will begin to lengthen. Maybe at first when you go into the pose you think, oh, I don't feel anything. That's not much of a stretch. But as you hold it there, you can get the sensations of what's happening in your muscles. Now to come out of the pose, I'd like you to use your hands and on the outside of each thighs, just give a little help, bringing your knees back together. And let's finish up by kicking out our legs to either side of our mat, a little bit wider than hip width apart, palms down by your side, about 2 or 3 inches from your hips, and palms facing upward toward the ceiling. Now we're just going to allow a couple minutes for all that work we've done to permeate, reposition itself, our muscles and nerves, quiet our minds. Feel yourself relaxing your knees and your hips, your shoulders. Allow your tongue to drop away from the roof of your mouth, your lips to part open as your breath returns to normal. Now you can roll over to either side. Bring your knees up slightly towards your chest. Put your head on your palm. And then gently push away from your mat, coming back up to a seated position. Got a few pebbles with me here. Well, that's it for our time together today. Thank you, and thank yourself for what you've done for yourself today. Hopefully it's calmed and quiet in your mind. You can feel oxygen flowing through your body. Remember to hydrate, drink lots of water, and you're not alone. I look forward to seeing you again next week. Bye now.